Hey everybody, so here's the deal. So far I have done a couple of dishes with some Cal bass or California striped bass. So what I did though with all the bones was I made a fish stock. Now from that, I would like to make a fish stew, almost like a bouillabaisse. There won't be mussels or a bunch of other items or clams or squid or any of those other things in there, just because I don't have access to them right now. So I'm working with a bunch of ingredients that I have in my house. So I have about 2.5 quarts of very gelatinous, rich fish stock. And when I say gelatinous, I mean full-blown Jello. Okay? That's not liquid, that's Jello. So, tons of flavor. Okay? So I'm going to use that. I am going to use a plethora of vegetables that I've already prepared. But what I want to do is show you how to skin the fish. We're going to make a cracker out of the skin by using the oven and a Silpat. We're going to bake that skin. But first off, I'm going to show you the veg that's going in this stew. So I have 2.5 quarts of fish stock. And then I have some vegetable stock because I want to have a lot of flavor. So I'm layering all these flavors. And then I have the vegetables that I've prepared here. So what I have is diced tomatoes. I have, some onion, and I'm going to show you my technique for how I like to do an onion. I have some carrot, green garlic, and then some spring onion. That's my vegetable base, okay? I like using this as the tool to move things. Also for this, I have some true wild fennel. This is actually from the Marin Headlands. It's really vibrant and beautiful. I'm gonna cut this up and add it and sweat it out, okay? And then I have the fish. So the technique that I wanted to show you, how I prefer to do a dice. So of course it's been peeled. I like to make an incision in first. I'm gonna do 3 cuts in. Okay, so 3 cuts in, holding this down. I'm going to bring this a little closer for you. There you go. There. So holding down, I take the knife and it's resting on my finger. Yes, you might get a few stragglers, but I'm now holding it together. Okay. Now you can see when it comes off. So fingers clenched. How's that for a dice? Okay, now I still have this end piece, but I can go more, so I'm gonna cut it again. I'm really big about using it all, so I'm gonna cut another time down. Look at that. Now, you say to yourself, oh, I can't cut that, it's getting really close. That's not true. You can take and make same incisions again, and then I turn it, and again, I dice it. Now, I'm going to turn it and go sideways. Okay, and turn that onion again. Now, all I have is the root core that I can't use to, I mean, if I blended it as like a soup, it would be fine, but I'm not going to because I want the dice. So I'm going to take this and put it in a container that I'm going to use for stock later. Now, this is what I love this for. Okay, transfer of goods over to my tray of goodies. So the other thing that I have, and I already cut, is russet potatoes. I've cut them. They've been put in water. So what I want to do is I want to start my vegetable work cooking while I butcher my fish. So bring this a little closer. So you can see I have a brazier here. I'm going to turn it on front, on high. I have some beautiful California olive oil. Okay. Now for this, I'm going to need to get a spoon. So wooden spoon. That's getting nice and hot. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna add some of the tougher ingredients. So what I'll start off with first is I'm gonna start with my regular onions and my carrots and the green garlic. The spring onions will get added last. Okay. So there you go. In the pot she goes. Okay, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt because it's gonna let the natural liquid release from the vegetables. So not a ton, don't go crazy. Okay, just a pinch. Okay, so I have a cutting board here. I want to make sure all my vegetables are already cut and prepared. So I do have my cutting board here, but I don't want to muck it up. Okay, so I have a white cutting board that I use for my protein. So I have a sheet tray here that I would like to put with a sill pad on it, okay? So I can bake my skin because I want to use the skin as like a crouton on top of this soup. But first thing I'm going to do is check for the pin bones, which I know there's some pin bones in this. Okay, which will take me a second to remove. Let me stir my vegetables. Once my veg starts to get a little soft, I'm going to add my diced potatoes because I want them to cook. Okay, so here's my little pin bone fish pliers. My little cup of water for the pin bones. So first thing, come in, find the pin bone, pull it out. So I'm going along this line here. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna fillet this or skin it really quickly. Once it's skinned, I am going to, so my technique is I like to do one process all the way. So I am going to take the pin bones out of all my fish first, then I take the skin off, and so I don't, waste my time. I want to be efficient. There's a reason why the process of building a car became more efficient, right? So it allows you to be a little bit more efficient. Make sure you're not missing anything. Okay, now I'm going to put that flesh on flesh. Next fish. Okay. It's got a nice sound behind me. I love that sound. I'll show you what the veg is going to look like because I'll be able to use my fish plier hand to hold the camera and bring it over what it's going to look like before I add my potatoes. Okay. Okay. So all the pin bones are out. Okay. Throw away that. Now, what I'm going to do is I have to hold on to this glove because I still have to hold the fish to fillet it off the skin. So what I'm going to do is grab this camera I'm gonna bring it over here and I'm gonna give you a little look here. That's starting to look really nice. Smells really good. Time to add the potatoes. So. Okay, so I have my potatoes here. Now the thing about the potatoes is of course, when you dice potatoes and you put them, you have to prevent them from oxidizing. So to do so, you can put them in water. But don't add your starchy water to your broth, to your soup, because then you're going to dilute your fish stock, and that's why we have veg stock instead of water, because it has some flavor to it. So the goal with the potato is to cook it in the soup to naturally thicken. While it's naturally thickening, it'll also tenderize. There's this stuff called potato starch that actually happens naturally in life. And I'll show you what potato starch looks like in 2 seconds. If I let this water sit, which I'll do for you, the starch will settle to the bottom of this. So by the time this demo's done, we should have a nice white layer on the bottom of this bowl, and that's what potato starch is. I'll show you. So I'm going to put that bowl aside so you see what potato starch looks like. Okay, so it's time for me to fillet or skin my fish. So here's my trick. Take the tail, use the tip of the knife, come in, and I've given myself a little hinge to hold on. So I'm going to come down. Now I'm going to lay my knife flat and just scoot, see? Scoot it along the fish. There we go. Now, I'll flip it over for you to see. Clean fish, skin to make crispy. Right down. Beautiful. So there we go. It's not too bad, right? I'll do it again. Take right at the edge, hold off a little piece. Lay the knife flat, nice scooting. There we go. Nice fillet. Nice piece of skin. There we go. It's gonna go over there. Okay, so again, holding the tail. Go ahead, make noise. I'm just pulling. Sometimes you don't even need to push the knife. You can hold the knife and move it, and then you can pull the skin. It'll do the same thing. And now I'm taking off that little tiny piece of tail meat because it's good. So far, so good. Last one, again. Holding. Now I'll show you, I will not move. I'm gonna hold the knife in one place and I'm gonna, there you go. Okay, so I wanna use the skin. I think chicken skin, fish skin, it's all delicious. So there's my skin. Now I have to dice all this fish, but first I'm gonna check on my potatoes. Oh, that's looking good. Okay. I'm going to bring the camera over here for you to see. Starting to look really nice. The potatoes are starting to not be as opaque, starting a little translucent. It's quite cool. Okay. I'm still holding on to this glove because I still have to dice the fish. There you go. Starting to look really good there. Okay, so we're gonna add the green garlic next, and then I'm gonna slowly start feeding in all my goodies, okay? But I quickly wanna, we had a camera malfunction, it fell over, the world is not over. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly dice this fish. So first, cut it in half, again, in half lengthwise. I want nice chunks. because I'm making a fish soup. Okay, look at that. Beautiful, and it matches the tail piece that I cut off the tails earlier. So this piece here, I'm gonna come in, there we go. Lengthwise, nice cubes. That's it. Not rocket science, fish soup. So I'm going to give you guys this today, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you the final dish. That'll be the best part, because what I'm going to do is tomorrow I will have everything else ready to go. We will finish up with our crispy chicken skin. We will finish up with making an aioli from scratch. I'm going to teach you how to make an aioli in a mortar and pestle the old-fashioned way. So pretty excited about doing that. And then we have I still owe you a knife sharpening demo. That's coming too. So I haven't forgotten. I'm just trying to pick and choose what makes sense for the day. Okay, so all my fish is almost done. Once this is done, so I take off that tail piece because it's a little bit bigger, see? Thinner. Cut her in half again. Cut it in half. Now, you don't have to make seafood soup out of it, but I want to. So, you wanted to use these fillets in something else, you totally can. It's okay. You can steam it, whatever, but there's just something about a beautiful seafood soup that I like, so I wanted to do it. Okay, now all my fish is done. I'm going to take my knife, my cutting board, and my glove, bring it over to my sink, wash my hands, and then we're going to finish up by adding the next step. Okay. Great sounds. Okay. One of my favorite parts of cooking is sound and what it sounds like. So, let's give you a little bird's eye view there. So, a lot of potatoes. It looks like a lot of white in there, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start feeding in the next few things. So here we go. In with the green garlic. And also in with my spring onions. So I'm going to saute this for about 5 minutes, maybe a little less, and then I'm going to add my stock. Now, both, like I said, I'm going to be adding fish stock and the veg stock all at once. That's when I'm going to add my diced tomatoes. And you can add white wine in this process right here. I actually don't have any open white wine, so I'm going to skip it today. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to add a little bit more salt in here. Okay, help the potatoes a little bit. Help just layer the flavors. I'm feeding things slowly, not trying to overdo it. Okay, let's get a little fan on here. Let's go to number 1. There you go. Okay. Now this is looking really great right now. Let's give you a little peek inside. Hopefully you can see. How's that? Looking good. It's time to add the stock. Okay. Wasn't kidding when I said Jello. Fish Jello. Okay, 1. Jello 2. That's pretty awesome, right? 2.5 quarts. Okay. That's my oven telling me it's ready to put in the fish skin. So what I have now is my veg stock. Looking pretty good now. So just give it a quick stir. That looks amazing. So far, so good. Right? Potatoes, green garlic, spring onions, carrots. It's really beautiful. So we're gonna turn the heat up a little bit. Now, the next step, we need to bring it up. I'm gonna add the tomatoes. We're gonna have fish sauce in here because we'll need a little body, and I wanna give it a little umami, natural salt. We will adjust with lemon, but let's see what we got left over here, okay? So we have tomatoes. We have the beautiful wild fennel, which we'll cut. And we have all this diced fish. So I'm feeling really good about where we're at with everything. Oh, there's a little bit more sauce. There we go. Sorry, missed one container. Okay, so, I mentioned to you I would show you what the potato starch looks like. I don't know if you can see it, but it's separating to the bottom of the bowl. So what I'm gonna do is push this here. Let's see if it can work. Okay. So before, you noticed that it was not clear. The water itself has become clear because the potato starch has sunk to the bottom. And as it sits, the longer it sits, the more apt it is to sink. Now, I will use my finger and I'll show you by writing a line in the bottom. That is potato starch. It's not that the potatoes were dirty because they were washed then peeled. This is the natural starch that came out of the potato during the process. So, as you can see, it is potato starch. Kind of cool, huh? See? Who says you don't learn new stuff every day? I'm always amazed by food. I'm always amazed by the way things work. It makes it amazing. Like, learning how to cook was one of the most monumental things for me because it made science make sense to me. Prior to that, it didn't all make sense. It was just not logical in my head. So, okay, so there you go. There's potato starch. Thought you should learn. Okay, waiting for this to come up. So to do so, I've got it on high. I'm gonna cover it. Covering your pan will definitely contain the heat inside and allow it to heat up faster. So what we're gonna do really quickly is I do want to show you how to do this skin. And the skin will bake while we're doing the everything where we're waiting for the boils. So, okay, so what I have here is this beautiful skin. So I like croutons on my bread. I like bread croutons on my soup with aioli. But I thought this would also be a really nice way to give you kind of something a little different. So I'm just gonna push it all out, make the skin all flat, right? Look at that. Yeah, okay. I'll wash my hands, and then I'm gonna season this with salt, a little olive oil, a little spice, and it's gonna bake in the oven. So I'm going to use a bit of the Izak spice. You've seen me use it a lot because I want a little zing to this. I think it'll be also a nice little crispy garnish to have on a soup, right? And, you know, who doesn't like a cracker, and nothing like doing a cracker out of skin. So instead of throwing it away, make the most out of it. Make the most out of everything. When you think about meat or fish or any creature, I like to use the maximum amount of the animal out of respect for the animal. So that's just my thought process on it. I think if you're willing to kill it, you should be willing to eat all of it. That's why I make stock. That's why I use the skin. That's why I use everything, okay? So, here's a little bit of salt. Yes, even though it came from the ocean, it still needs some salt. Not a ton. Okay? And I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil on it, just a wisp. Okay? It's not so even, but it's gonna distribute it when it's in the oven. Okay? Now, my oven's at 350. I'm gonna put the skin in there. I wanted it high, and then I'm gonna turn the temperature down. So I'm gonna take it from 350 to 300 as soon as I put it in, okay? With a fan. If you don't have a fan, that's okay. You can do it at 350 and just let it go for a while. Okay, so there she goes. I just turned the temperature down, 300. I started the oven at 350. Does have the fan on, putting it into 300, letting it come down, okay? So, fronds, beautiful. I love wild fennel fronds. So, the best part about living in Northern California is fennel is just prolific everywhere. You can pick it wild. It grows everywhere. It's super delicious. It has a very distinct flavor, very different from regular fennel. I love it. And the cool part about it is it adds depth and character. When you touch it, the smell, it smells like fennel seeds. It doesn't smell like your traditional fresh fennel. So I'm gonna use some of that in my soup. I'm gonna chop that up. And the stalks you can use in a veg stock. So I have, I'll be saving all the stalks for a nice veg stock. And it was really nice, my neighbor brought this over for me. So it's quite beautiful. So now let me show you fennel, and I'm just gonna pick all the stems out because I don't want any of the big harsh stems. Okay. And the aroma right now in here is just, it's amazing. Let's take a look. Any more biggies? Well, that's pretty good. So I've got that. I'm gonna grab my chef's knife. So got my big boy here. Just a once over. I don't want to hammer it. Turn it. Okay, so there we go. What I have left to add to my soup: tomato, chopped fennel, and fish. But I need to really important now, I do need to season my fish with salt before it goes in the pot. Not a ton, but I do want to season it lightly. Let me see where I'm at. Let's take a look. Hopefully, oof, it's hot. Okay, that looks good. It's just about there. So I'm going to show you what I mean and what I'm looking for. So, and I don't know if that's working. Let's pull it a little closer for you. Just a one. There we go. She's starting to boil. There she blows. So I'm going to give it a nice stir. Okay, that looks great. It's not too, the potatoes. The reason I wanted to put the potatoes in earlier is because I want them to cook and their natural starch to come out. When you cook potatoes, when you cook any root veg, you should do it from cold up. And by doing so, I'm cooking it from the inside out. Also, by doing that, the natural starches are coming out of the potatoes into my broth, which are going to give me body. I'm looking for body in here as well as I am looking for flavor. So now we have a nice simmer. I'm going to grab my red boat, going to grab a couple little things. We're going to start doctoring it up. And we should be done really quickly. I'm going to take a peek over here. My skin is boiling and bubbling. Not boiling, but simmering in the fat, right? Ever so gently. Soup is simmering beautifully. Got a nice little boil here. Always when you're cooking something, bring it up to a boil, then turn it down. Especially a soup or a stock, I like to bring it up full, especially if it's a protein-based stock. I bring it up to temperature, safety zone, then bring it down. So I'm going to bring it down now. turning the temp down a little bit. Now, it's gonna plummet because I'm gonna add my tomatoes. Okay. Oh, look at that. The tomatoes themselves will naturally break down. I do want this soup to reduce a little bit just as much as I want it to get thick. And it's gonna have a dual action. So now you have to remember, if you cover it, you're not gonna get reduction because the steam will condensate on the top of your pot, whatever it is. This is a brazier pot, and this top here is designed to contain and drip back down in. I don't want that. I want natural reduction of flavor to concentrate and the soup to come down. So I'm gonna grab the red boat, I'm gonna grab some tasting spoons, and I'm gonna get ready to season my fish and get the final touches ready. So not too bad. So the other day, somebody asked me, why are you using fish sauce instead of just using salt? Is your fish sauce so funky? Isn't it going to make it really strong and put it off putting flavor? This particular one, it doesn't look like it's Red Boat, but it is. So that's me on there, okay? This is a Red Boat product, okay? This is a individual barrel of Red Boat that I did with them as a blend. Really special. They were offering to blend 4 barrels or 5 barrels with these other chefs that we went together to Vietnam, to Phu Quoc. And I said, hey, I just love the flavor of this one. Can we just bottle this 1 barrel as mine? And they said, sure. So that's why this one has my mug on it with a bunch of animals coming out of me. That artwork was done by Jeremy Fish. So super proud of that. Okay. So it was just a small bottling for me. So here you go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna season this fish. We're gonna do something a little different. So, okay. So first off, I got my tray and I'm shaking it out, all the fish. You see I have my chopped fennel here. Again, I like that Izak spice that I put on the skin, which I need to go check my skin. Oh man, I'm gonna bring you to it. I'm gonna bring you to the skin, okay? Skin looks good. You can see the oils turning different colors, but I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm gonna check it by touching it. It's got about another minute or 2. Okay, so. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get some salt on here. I'm gonna season the fish with the chopped fennel. I'm gonna do a little lemon zest on it with a microplane and some Izak, so that when I add it in there, I'm adding all the same flavors that I want to be in the soup at the right time. So, soup is now boiling again, or simmering. Salt first. Now, wild fennel. A little bit of this Izak spice. I like this because somebody asked me, why do you use that same spice so much? I find the flavor profile in it is very, very beautiful. It's very balanced, and it lends itself to a lot of different applications. So it's not too spicy. I like the minerality that comes out. It just gives a lot to the actual fish or meat or whatever you choose to use it on. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of it, and for me right now, it's been great. So I got my little fridge below. I've got a lemon. Let me go grab my microplane. Part of what I do when I'm cooking at home is I'm thinking about flavor as I'm cooking. and I'm evolving the dish as I'm cooking. So I know this is going to need acid, so I'm going to add some of the zest to here, and then I can adjust with acid after there. So when I'm doing this, the aroma that's coming off is very intense. I know everybody knows the smell of a lemon, but the natural oils that come off when you zest are very powerful. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so everybody sees how much? Okay. That looks nice, huh? So now I'm gonna get a glove, massage it in there, check on over here, check on over there, multitask. Skin's almost ready. Gloves are over here. Okay. 1, 2. 2 gloves up. All right, so let's go check on our soup. Give it a nice stir. I'm liking how it looks. It's gonna simmer. Tomatoes are gonna break down. It's gonna start getting really vibrant. Almost there, almost. Things come with patience. Learning to cook has taken me a very long time, and I'm far from perfect. I learn every day. But it's really about learning to wait for flavors to build, learn to taste things, kind of trust some instincts, but then recipes are really important when you want to have, the exact amount of spices and things, and you'll learn those as you really start working with grammed recipes. But for a lot of things that I'm doing at home right now, I'm working off flow and understanding what I'm looking for in flavor, and I have been very, very happy and having a lot of fun just rethinking that home cooking. So let me check on my skin. That's looking pretty good. About almost done. Almost done. Oh man, that smells so good. Okay, so you were wondering what I'm gonna do with that. So, along with the gloves. Beautiful. So it's gonna stick to everything. That's great. Okay. Now I grab the edge, pull it, hold it, gone. Okay. So cool part about this is today we're making the soup. We're going to cool it down. We're going to let the flavors kind of get to know each other, hang out a little bit, blend naturally overnight. And then tomorrow I'm going to heat the soup up ever so gently, and I will show you a finished dish of soup with mortar and pestle aioli. I'll make aioli the traditional way in a mortar and pestle, and we'll serve it with the crispy skin cracker, and you'll see a complete dish tomorrow. So that'll be the second part of this. It's kind of a two-parter. You've seen the basics. Tomorrow it'll be a finished dish all the way done. Because I can't just rush it. I don't want it to be rushed. I want the soup to meld and blend with flavor and let it kind of naturally come together overnight. So now it's time for me to pull my skin. I can tell. I can smell it. Okay, you can see it's shrank. The color is vibrant from the chili and the oil. So I'm just gonna let it cool down. Now, with that skin, once it's cool, I'll be able to take it and put it in a sealable, like a Tupperware container or something flat, laid between pieces of paper towel. And it'll stay, leave it out at room temp. It's cooked, it's safe, it's crispy. Because if you put it in the fridge, things get soggy. So I want to have a crispy skin cracker tomorrow for you to see. Okay? So let's almost. Oh yeah. Okay. So get my tasting spoon. Fish sauce, lemon juice, fish, soup, done. So, gonna cut my lemon. Teaspoon. So I already know this soup will need salt. I can tell. I know it will. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I want to see where my base lies. Beautiful fish. Quite a bit of that green garlic and the onion and the sweetness coming from the carrot. Tomatoes really lovely, but I'm going to add the fish and some lemon. Then I'm going to add my red boat after. Okay? Dead spoon. Now, I can use the same spoon here. Slowly add my fish in. Beautiful. Okay, let's get rid of that tray. Okay, a couple dabs of fish sauce. This isn't going to be a ton. For the fish sauce, I'm probably going to do it equaled out 1.5 teaspoons. Let's bring it over so you can see. Now's the time for you to see this. Okay, so you see this nice olive oil and natural fish fat that has come to the top. Okay, but you can see the fish is slowly cooking. Potatoes are nice and cooked. You have carrots, and this is a nice hearty soup. Okay, I know we need a little bit of lemon juice. Beautiful. Okay, time to get a taste in here. Now that wild fennel comes through, the lemon naturally. Really, really great. So, add a little more salt. Get another clean spoon. Probably gonna need 2. So, just so you understand, the fish stock, I did not add any salt to my stock. I never add salt to stock. So, you know, you do need to, this is a lot of broth, and you do need to season it. And, you know, potatoes absorb a lot of salt. Even though there's fish sauce in here, it still needs seasoning. Your spoon. All right, folks, so you see this chunkiness to it, right? It's quite beautiful. Carrots and beautiful stock. This stock has so much natural gelatin, it's lip smacking on my, it's incredible. So, tomorrow, I'm looking forward to finishing this up with you. Now, if you want to do something fun tomorrow, if you have a mortar and pestle, tomorrow's the day. I will show you how to make aioli from scratch in an old-fashioned mortar and pestle, the fun way. So for that, you will need Dijon, egg yolks, extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, salt, black pepper, pinch of cold water. That's it. So I will show you this finished dish tomorrow. Now you know the basics on how to make the soup. Tomorrow you'll see the next step, which is how to take it to the next level, how to take the soup, serve it with a piece of beautiful bread, crispy skin from your fish, and a dollop of aioli. Thanks for hanging out. Be well. Take care of yourself. Wear a mask. Don't go outside. Stay 6 feet away from people. And make sure, if you have a chance, donate to Frontline Foods. Frontline Foods is a great organization that is specifically feeding hospital caretakers. So this is like going straight to the doctors and nurses in the emergency rooms and the COVID units all throughout the U.S. Frontline Foods, if you want to support them, there's your place to go do it, all right? We're really proud to be a part of Frontline Foods here in the Bay Area, and a whole slew of my chef friends all around the country are cooking for Frontline Foods. So please donate, help them get food into the hands of doctors and nurses in need. And by donating, you're also helping keep restaurants alive that are still able to employ their staff. Thank you. Have a good night.